Hey, I just found the best delay plugin for making synthwave and 80s style music. And that plugin is called Comeback Kid by Baby Audio. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use it in your productions. Hi, I'm Reagan Ram with Orpheus Audio Academy. And by the way, if you want to pick up this plugin for yourself, I just want to let you know that you can actually get 10% off by going through my link, which is in the description below, or you can go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/comeback. And I also just wanted to let you know about my free drum sample pack you can download in the description below as well. And this free sample pack has a bunch of synthwave and 80s drum samples inside of it. So if you make that kind of music and you want some extra drum samples, then be sure to grab that in the description below. So before I dive into what all the controls are, I just want to show you a quick sample of what it can do. So I've got it on my lead instrument here. I'm just going to solo this just to make it a little easier to hear, and I'll play it by itself and then with this plugin turned on. So you can hear that adds a really cool delay sound. It's got some like warble on it and some saturation on it, which is really great for making synthwave and 80s style music, because it gives it that maybe cheaper, older, distorted kind of sound, which adds a lot of interest and flavor to your sound. And there's so much you can do with this plugin. It's so versatile and flexible. So first, I'm going to break down what all these different controls are here. I am on the Baby Audio website, which explains all of these different parameters. And just remember, if you do pick up this plugin, be sure to use my link so you can get 10% off, which is orpheusaudioacademy.com/comeback. So first, of course, like any other delay plugin, you have the delay setup here, so you can choose what the time of the delay is, and then whether it's dotted, straight, triplet, or free. So that'd be just like in terms of milliseconds. Then we have the ping pong option, so you can have it just be a mono delay, or it can be ping pong. So ping pong means it will be bouncing across the stereo spectrum, which was really popular in the 80s, so I recommend using that. And then let's look at the output section. And in the output section, we have the ducker control, which is really awesome. It might be my favorite control of this plugin, because so what this does is it ducks out the delay. So the actual delayed sound, it actually is turned down when the dry signal is playing. And this is a trick that normally would require a lot of automation. It would take a lot of time. And what you do is basically just turn up and down the wet knob. So you'd turn it down when the actual dry signal was playing, and then you'd turn up the delay in the gaps between what's actually playing. And this makes this delay especially good for lead sounds and vocals, because this is a big trick that's used in modern vocal and lead production, is you actually turn down the delay when the actual dry signal is playing, so that increases clarity, reduces like mud and cloudiness. You don't have the actual dry signal being erased or clouded over by the delayed signal. So this makes a much cleaner delay, and it only comes in and to fill those gaps, and that's really nice. So you can dial in how much you want it to duck. Do you want it to duck all the way out or only partially? So this is a really great tool here. And then of course you have the dry out and the wet out. So how much of those you want to be in and out. Those are those controls there. Then you have the shaper tool over here, which is really cool. So of course you got your low cut and your high cut. So this determines what the frequency range of your delayed sound would be. So if we want to make it like more of a radio or telephone kind of sound, we can cut it down to 3000 hertz and 300 hertz on the low end. And that's really cool. But you also got this attack and sustain here. So these are flexible transient designers to shape the envelope of your delay signal. So let's hear what those do really quick. And also the ducker while we're at it. So you can hear it gets a lot cleaner as I turn up the ducker, and it actually ducks out. Then we got these transient shapers over here as well. So these are really, really cool for shaping your delay sound. If you want it really plucky and short, or if you want it to be more lazy, dreamy, and sustained, you can control that here with these controls. So this, again, is really amazing, really flexible, and makes it unlike any other delay plugin that I have seen. Another thing real quick is we have this Destiny control here, and this adds subtle randomization into the algorithm that creates a more human delay feel. So let's see what this sounds like. So it's very subtle, but it does add some of that imperfection, which is really what you want to go for when you're creating 80s or synthwave style music, because that was the character, the nature of analog tools, is that randomization and imperfection. So that is a really cool feature to have turned on as well, to add some flavor and character. Speaking of which, we do have the flavor section here. So we've got this cheap control, which you can turn on and off. And then we have tape, swirl, and sauce. So we have cheap here, which is a custom 11-bit signal path inspired by vintage delay, digital delays. So again, it just makes it a more vintage sounding type of delay, and it bit crushes it basically down to 11-bit. So it's reducing the resolution there of the sound, which you may or may not want. Then you all have tape, which is analog modeled saturation algorithm, which will give you a classic tape delay sound. So that's pretty neat. Swirl is a warm and organic sounding phase effect that adds movement to your delays. So if you want to add some of that phasing effect, you can do that with swirl. Then you have sauce, which is an algorithmic reverb for adding diffusion to the wet signal. So you can actually add in a little bit of reverb to the delay. So then you have reverberated delay, which is pretty cool. So you can have that on or off if you want with this knob, and how much. So let's hear what these do. I'll turn these all the way down and just hear what it sounds like. We'll turn cheap off. So you can already hear it's a little bit grittier, a little dirtier kind of a sound with cheap. So you're getting some of that tape distortion, saturation there. So that's pretty cool. You're getting some of that swirly phase effect there. And now sauce. So it just adds a little bit of reverb there, and you can of course turn these all up and make a really cool sound here. So you're now getting a very degraded but also complex sound in your delay, which is really cool. And then finally we got the stereo section here, so we can actually make it wider and also impact what that stereo sound sounds like. Of course, we have wider, which changes the timing between the left and the right signals to create a wider delay sound. And then we also have richer, which changes the pitch between the left and the right signals to create a lush and wide delay sound. And of course, you can have just have this set to mono or not. So if we have it off, then it will be wide. And of course, we can get that ping pong effect as well. Then you have pan, so you can just pan the delay if you want it to be just the left or the right side, but we want it to be in the middle there. So we'll hear what these do now. So you can definitely hear how it's making for a wider delay. And so with all these different effects in, right, add in some tape, add in some swirl, maybe a little bit of sauce, and you just dial these in how you want, you can create a pretty cool sounding delay. All right, that is a pretty awesome delay sound. So one last feature is you can change the color of this to gray or black, whichever you prefer. And that's it. That's Comeback Kid. This is an amazing plugin. Let me know what you think. If you want to pick up this plugin for yourself, just click in the description below so you can use my link and get 10% off. Or just go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/comeback. Also be sure to grab my free Synthwave sample pack in the description below. Otherwise, if you want more tips and tutorials on how to create synthwave music, just check out my playlist on the screen right now. Have a great day and keep creating.